The 6.5 is on the road here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are at VMware Explore 2024. This is VMware's key big tent event. Dan, the event so far has been great.
Yeah, Pat, I think everybody's been really excited in the build up to this year's event. We are starting this big fall season. We're going to be hearing from the industry. We've got this big inflection on AI. We've got all this excitement about how companies are going to carry forward their strategies. And really, Pat, it's been about value. How are we going to start to get value from these investments in AI?
Yeah.
And this event is going to be one of the big ones, Pat, because we know a lot of data lives on-prem. We know companies are dealing with this private, public, where did my workloads go? And VMware, everybody wants to hear from.
Exactly. It's been 9 months since we interviewed Hock and most of his leadership team. And I can't think of a better person to be kicking this off with than Hock himself. Hock, great to see you again.
Thank you, Pat. Nice to see you again. Dan, you too.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's great to be here in beautiful Las Vegas. And this, of course, is that big moment, as Pat said. It's been, I think, 9 months. We had the chance to talk to you on deal day. Of course, there's been a lot of excitement, a lot of reflection, a lot of opinion across the market about how this deal is going to work out. Our assessment was that it would work well, is that it's working well. But we would love to start out with you there, kind of in this 9 months. How's it going? What are you hearing? What's this event mean while we're here in Las Vegas?
Well, it's been very interesting. It's, in the 9 months, I've learned a lot, but also what I've also discovered is what we set out to do 9 months ago before we closed the deal is very much what we are achieving now. So it's great, very interesting, working very hard, but what we are seeing is customers, enterprises, CIOs, large to bottom, are very, very excited about the vision, about the technology we are now bringing to them.
Yeah, that's great. It's been incredible to watch it. It is great to see when we compare what was said 9 months ago to actually what you did, and it's been good. It's been really good. And this event is really a culmination of kind of what's new, what's going on, what have you delivered, and it's been really exciting. One of the things that I've heard you say is that the future of the enterprise is private. Now, that's a very bold statement, given that the cloud 15 years ago was born, and I would say about 10 years ago it was cloud first. What are your customers telling you that says the future of enterprise is private? Because that might be contradictory what the other people are saying.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting part. We set out to really to basically position ourselves with VMware, especially with an upgraded product stack called VCF or VMware Cloud Foundation, where you would virtualize the entire data center we talked about. We set out to really put in position the fact that VMware, through creating private cloud, would coexist in enterprises with their public cloud environment. Not wrong. I think we're achieving that. But what we are discovering, especially over the last 9 months, talking to CIOs, head of infrastructure of our largest enterprises, and small ones too, mid-sized ones, is simply that 10 years ago, as you say, Pat, enterprises are saying, let's go to the cloud.
Right.
Boards, CEOs are telling their IT department, go cloud, go cloud. So they went.
Yeah.
I think they're all suffering PTSD now. That's an interesting thing, because they quickly find out it's not what it appears to be.
Yeah.
Now, there are some benefits, there are a lot of benefits. And it's simply put, if you peel back the curtain in most data centers on-prem, you find that historically, they build up into silos. They're best of breed, they like to call it that, in compute, best of breed in networking, best of breed in storage.
Right.
And they expect these three silos to work together to deploy services to their internal clients. Doesn't work that way in truth. It's painful, it's non-resilient, and they don't work very well together, which is what drove them
Exactly.
to the public cloud,
Exactly.
where it's a platform. They work seamlessly, so easy to deploy. Yes, but the end result, as I find out over the years, been there, is there are three famous C's, as I said before. It costs a lot more.
Moorhead.
A lot more. I would say anywhere from 2 to 4 times more. Secondly, it's complex, very complex. Not that simple to just say, I put it out there. And thirdly, compliance is an issue, especially on AI running data now. So they have these issues. And a recent survey done by research analysts on Barclays industry group is they surveyed about over 100 CIOs and found that over 80% of them are now looking at considering moving their applications back on-prem, back into a private and on-prem data center compared to sitting in the cloud, which is where we show up very on a timely basis, because what we're offering with VCF is not another just any tool to run your data center. It is enabling them to create a private cloud platform on-prem. It's really bringing what they have in, say, AWS on-prem, a platform for very high velocity deployment of applications. That's what we're building.
Yeah, and in order to do that, it's about the service portfolio, being able to offer, the massive various services, and of course the right services, because it's not all about the sprawl, it's about having the right things. And Hock, something you said, you're sort of speaking the language, I think, of most CIOs, which has been they liked what the cloud represented. Now we can have a debate. We've seen that, from a debate standpoint, that we've only gotten to 20 to 30-ish percentage points of those workloads making it to the cloud. So it hasn't all happened. So your thought about it being private and being on-prem actually is still the case if you actually just look at the math. Now, growth is another side of this, which is growing faster. I think we would say up to this date, if you measured it, might be more cloud. But then what you're suggesting is maybe this next wave will be that growth on what's being done on-prem that feels like cloud could really accelerate if the right tools and capabilities are there. So you offering that comprehensive set of tools, that comprehensive set of services, it looks like that's a big part of what you're talking about here at the event. Share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely, because we realize creating a platform, which is what VCF does on-prem, to create that high velocity platform for deployment and application of developers in enterprises. It's getting those developers, those applications back on-prem. CIOs love it because they were losing it to the public cloud before, until cost hits them. As I said, what we also realize is with that platform, it's like building a Taj Mahal, no furniture. Got to put the furniture in, which is creating a robust catalog of microservices, is what the public cloud calls them, that developers, that IT departments love to have to basically make it even easier to consume in the cloud. And if they have it in a public cloud, no reason why we can't do the same, which is what exactly our investments has been. Since we acquired this company, we have put in we put in potentially billions of dollars of investment to create those advanced services. We're talking about firewalls. VCF is perfect to build, because we have additional agent, virtual firewalls on east-west workloads. Then from that, advanced security, which is monitoring, tracking workloads, advanced security, load balancing, extend to that disaster recovery, on and on, of those advanced services that now these enterprises building private cloud can literally have opportunity to those key range of advanced services they would otherwise be able to get in a public cloud. We're recreating the same thing. It's a journey, it's still going on, but we are. And one of the most interesting things we put in place is this thing called Private AI Foundation. Right. Particularly how interesting AI is today. So we have, VMware virtualizes the GPUs. Just like they virtualize the CPUs, they virtualize no different than the CPU. So they can create the same environment for both CPU and GPU for the same application to run on both. And that's one of the more interesting things to bring in on-prem because data is on-prem. You want control of that. So bring your models in on-prem, run it on VCF, and you basically run AI on-prem.
Yeah, it's a great conversation. I like that we had to go back 15 years ago, right? And the reason the public cloud even became popular is that on-prem infrastructure and the way it was managed seemed very complex, right? And it was hard to scale. And then many of those workloads went to the public cloud. But what happened is the public cloud got a little bit more complex. In some ways that was good because they had more offerings. But what happened is the expense sprawl got out of hand. And what that did is I think that inspired VMware and VCF product to build something that delivered the best of both worlds, which was, hey, let's bring the simplicity of what we like about the public cloud. We're shielding you from a lot of that complexity of the infrastructure, which you said it, 80% of the data is on-prem. Seems like there is this huge opportunity for generative AI. We talked a little bit about private AI, but I wanted to do the double click, Hock. What are some of those challenges that you're trying to solve related to generative AI and serving up with VMware private AI?
Well, that's a very, very good question because generative AI or AI in enterprises as they want to consume it going forward is still in its early stages. It's nascent. There are a lot of initiatives, a lot of POCs among enterprises to figure out if there is a return on investment in basically getting more productivity, reducing costs by deploying AI. And that's not cheap either. You got to get the models, the foundation models, those large language models. You got to train them. They can buy them pre-trained. You have to license them, but you still have to run them on your data center, on your infrastructure. And what VMware is trying to do by creating a private AI foundation is basically telling these companies, you don't have to train your entire data yourselves. You license pre-trained models, and you can then run it on-prem and run it next basically to your traditional CPU data centers. And what we offer is a seamless integration between AI and typical traditional corporate workloads running hand in hand. It's actually what we have in private AI is a scheduler, among other things, that depending on the workloads, you can either deploy it in CPUs or GPUs. And more than that, you keep your data on-prem.
Right.
You bring the models to on-prem. And that's the path we're headed. Now, it's still early stage, still a journey because a lot of these companies are still trying to figure out if there's a return before they make that vast investment. But at this point, we believe it will happen, and we're pretty ready.
Yeah, the CapEx side of the industry is indicative that people believe, but we are seeing some of that consumption bringing out questions from companies. Part of it, I think, is what you're saying, though, Hock, is addressing where data lives, how expensive it is for companies to get value from the data that they have in their own data centers. See, the models have become somewhat ubiquitous. They're accessible to everybody, but the data that makes your insights unique, that sits on top of your software stack, is complicated, and it's expensive to have it moving. The egress can be pretty, cost intensive. And so it matches up with kind of your 3 Cs in why a company might want to think, hey, I want the convenience of what cloud represents, but I want to do it here. I want to do it close to my data. And Hock, who's probably thinking about this quite a bit, is your partners. I mean, we are here. Many of them are here. I'd love to just kind of talk a little bit more about the commitments because, you're helping bring AI. You're helping bring, on-prem cloud or private cloud. What are the commitments now that you are 9 months down the road? You've had all these conversations, you're rolling out all these services. What are you really focusing on bringing to them?
We really made 3 commitments early on, and we are delivering on it. First is we're trying to simplify, what the software we have out there. So complicated what VM had before, and we did. We reduced 8,000 SKUs of products to simply 4 today. Make it easy to understand, which makes it easier to consume.
Product marketer's dream.
No, I mean, when I hear 8,000 to 4, I always do a double take, even though I've read that, Hock. But it's
It's
that's
true.
amazing.
It is. So we make it easier. And it's easier for the customer, but it's also easier for the partners, the ecosystem of partners. Second thing we committed to really do is we want to go and to put in place the go-to-market, the routes to market to be also very clear and simple to customers, to end users, because they must know where to get it and how to get it quickly. And so we've done. We've simplified a lot of the channels, simplified a lot of particularly go-to-market, routes to market, and eliminated or minimized, you never eliminate, unfortunately, but minimize channel conflicts. And which leads me to the third commitment, which is to then enhance and strengthen the partnership in the partner ecosystem. VMware used to claim they love partners. To be honest, anybody can be a partner. No, we are more thoughtful about positioning partners such that they are first and foremost, that it is a financially healthy environment for them. Then they can invest as we do. And on top of that, to basically then put in place a situation where if the partners can do it, we shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
Which is not just selling the products, not just deploying the products, but also operating the products. And what we've done in making a lot of investments over the last 9 months is strengthening the partnership ecosystem, because eventually that's what will optimize and benefit our end users.
Well, Hock, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. We know how busy these events can be. Lots of partners, lots of customers, and of course, meetings that an event like this can have for you. But we love you sitting down. We appreciate you coming back for the third time.
I know.
Here with us. And hopefully you'll keep doing it. And
As often as you want.
As often as we want. Y'all hear that? We'll be in touch really soon. But have a great rest of your event. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Very good to see you guys again.
You too.
And thank you all for tuning in. We are here in Las Vegas at VMware Explore 2024. That was Hock Tan. Great conversation. So much more coming from us. Stick with us. We'll see you all in a bit.